Hey everybody, Stu Smith here, going live. Hope you are well. Today is Tuesday, which means we will be taking some questions, giving some answers, uh, looking at some swim videos, and critiquing them. If you have some and you want to send them to me, you can send them to me at stu@stusmith.com right now. And by the end of the show, I can probably have those up and critiqued for you live here if you'd like. But let's start off with, as we get people on here, let's start off with a little discussion about changing seasons. In fact, right now we are dealing with still the fall here in Maryland, but it was our first workout below freezing today. So we had a chilly one. It wasn't below freezing for long, but 30, 31 degrees at 6 a.m. Sun comes up, warms up to almost 40 really quick. Um, But you got to get used to that. I mean, you're going to be working in cold, hot, perfect, not perfect, rainy. I mean, I think the quicker you can acclimate to all types of weather, especially where you will be training or your selection will be. And then, of course, follow on training. There's always winter warfare, desert warfare, um, jungle warfare. I mean, you're going to deal with hot, arid, humid, cold, freezing, wet. And I think if you can learn to work and work out in that type of environment, it's just going to set you up for just being a little bit tougher to be able to handle it whenever you actually have to do it. So, we had an outdoor workout, nothing fancy, just your typical PT pyramid, except for we went up to 12, back down to 1. We ran every set for a quarter mile. So came out to almost 6 miles of running. And the thing about this workout, which I think is perfect for outdoor activity, it's just you never stop moving. There's really no sit on a bench and rest unless you're just wiped out and you need to catch your breath or something. But for most part, it is pull-ups, push-ups, abs, dips, run, the next level, a little bit higher, 2, 4, 6, 8, a little bit higher, 3, 6, 9, 12, boom, and just work your way up that pyramid. And yeah, that's the way you do it to get used to it. I We used to not do this, and I will say that during the winter months we would go in a weight room and everybody lift big and get strong. And if it was 35 degrees outside, I'd say, yeah, I'm gonna stay inside. Gonna ride the treadmill, for my cardio cool down. And those were the days. I mean, I did that for most of my life. Um, However, after COVID, we got kicked out of our weight room. And I have to be honest with you, I don't think we're going back. If it's horrible weather and most guys can't even drive to it because it's too cold or icy or whatever, we'll just stay home, do it on your own. But, for the most part, as long as the roads are nice, we're out. We're going to be outside getting it done. Because guess what? That's life. I have some of my guys from here at the Naval Academy that are going through TBS right now at Marine Corps Quantico. They're in the field all week, all night, just their sleeping bags, no fires. So they're cold and they're getting used to being cold. That's what it's going to be. So, hope you guys are doing well. Somebody asked a question last week, and a lot of times I'll go through these questions, at the end of the day or a different day when I'm writing articles because you guys do give me ideas. And somebody had mentioned a program called Starting Strength, and I didn't really go into it because a lot of times when people say, "What do you think about this program?" I usually just say, "Look, I'm not going to knock a program. I'm not going to overly hype a program. I really don't follow a lot of other programs. I have read many and gotten some ideas, but I tend to make my own. However, the one you asked about was called Starting Strength, which is, Mark Ripito um, program, and I highly recommend it. It's a great one. In fact, I bought it for my son when he was in high school, starting to lift heavier, and is so many great tips for people who are starting out lifting. But it also, I mean, for the average person, it is about as advanced as you need to be, and you master the basics, especially the big power lifts, the squat, deadlift, bench programming. I like it. So I didn't mean to blow you off whenever you asked that question. I um, just tend to have a policy, so to speak, of just I don't bash anybody else's program, and I don't, like I said, I don't overly gush over anyone's program. There are some classics out there that I would highly recommend reading, um, and he's one of them. So I'm definitely a fan of that one. So there you go. I do have a few combat swimmer stroke videos, but not many. I'm gonna check my Stu Smith email just in case one of you guys sent me something. I think I deleted a whole bunch of emails by accident, and I saw a CSS video there. So I may have missed it. If you sent one in the last 24 hours, I probably deleted it. But that was a stupid accident I did. It's 5:40 this morning. Um, all right. So let me just share this. I don't think I have it pulled up. That's not smart. It is I think this is a decent one. Let me get the volume turned down here. Okay. So, yeah, this one's not bad. So let me share my screen here. All right. So let's see what we got. We have kicking off the wall. Decent. Not bad. I mean, you could be a little tighter on your streamline. I mean, this streamline right here is okay. It's not great. I think that recovery could have been a little better. Ooh, see, top arm, bottom arm, kick. It's pretty good. You got a weak kick, it does appear. Looks like everything else is pretty good. However, you pop your head up a little bit on that breath. Notice how you go vertical here. You quit moving altogether. And your kick here is a little stiff. Look at that top leg. You need to bend that knee a little bit and, get that thing out in front of you and whip kick it. So bend the knee as it comes up and then whip kick it out. I'll show you uh, one of mine, see if that helps understand what I'm talking about. I may have to go on. Um, oh, yeah, no, I got it right here. All right, so check this out. So notice this kick and notice the streamline. See that streamline? It's a lot tighter than yours. But notice this kick here. See how the top knee bends and then it whip kicks out there? Your bottom leg's fine. And also another thing I noticed you do is whenever you pull that top arm, your face is still in the water. Notice when I pull my top arm here, boom. See how with that top arm, my face is now turning with my top arm. All right, let's see that again. See how it's almost like I have a string um, tied to my nose to my hand. And whenever that top arm goes past, I am turning my head. Boom. Okay. And then all I have to do now is just bottom arm pull and inhale at the same time. And you notice I never really stop moving forward. Okay. So let me share yours again and just show you the difference. What I'm talking about. First of all, your kick is you need to bend that top knee. It's pretty bad. Um, yeah, that looks like you got a knee brace on trying to swim. So top arm, you see how your face is still. Let's do it on the way back. See how your face is still in the water when that top arm goes by? Like your face should be out of the water now. And then what it's forcing you to do is it forces you to pop your head up during the bottom arm pull. Yeah. Streamline could definitely be a little tighter there. See how you're kind of swimming at an angle here, right? You definitely want your biceps on your ears. That'll make you swim a little straighter. So your body position in the water is a little canted, and that top leg definitely needs some work. So what I would suggest, there's an article I wrote called Fix Your Kick. In fact, I will put this right here. If you're having problems with your kick, check out this drill. It's pretty good. Oh, you didn't see all that? Oh, that sucks. Thought I was sharing it. My bad. I think I turned off my share screen. Terribly sorry. I will share that again. So what didn't you see the second time? Is that correct? So, okay. So you saw the one of me, so I didn't see the second time. So I was just showing you this primarily. See how the top arm and the head is not tied to each other. So when you pull that top arm, you definitely want to be turning your head at the same time, just like you're doing freestyle breath, instead of cramming in everything right here. Because notice what you're having to do right here. You're exhaling, your bottom arm pulling, you're popping your head up, and you're inhaling all at the same split second. And it's just awkward. So turn, turn and exhale here. Okay. Now pull and inhale here, and then kick and glide. So there you go. I'll show mine again if you want to see that one again. But it's on my TikTok page as well. Let's see. What do I think about supplements, protein powder, creatine when preparing for SF selection? Well, I don't think you need the creatine. Be honest with you. Um, some people like it. I've never have. I mean, protein absolutely. Highly recommend it. Now, my son, he's not preparing for spec ops, but he's in college, wants to be a tactical athlete in the future, probably federal law enforcement or something. And he is lifting hard right now. He's going through a winter lift cycle, putting on some mass, getting strong. He's doing really well, and he's has protein and creatine in there, and he's putting on some mass and getting stronger too. If you're going really heavy, I would suggest yes, get some creatine just because it tends to help um, just with putting on some mass and your muscles being a little more durable when you're going heavy. However, it also puts on weight, water weight that you will lose pretty quickly once you're off. And if you're doing a lot of cardio, you need to double your water almost. If you're doing creatine with it, it's just a lot of people don't know how to use it properly. So I just say don't even use it. You can't use it when you're going through selection. So why get hooked on it now and think you need it to perform at your best, because you really don't. and your performance is going to be a lot different than, a lot of sprints and one rep maxes. You're going to be doing a lot of running, a lot of rucking, um, a lot of high rep calisthenics, a lot of load bearing, just a lot of moving, right? Versus lifting for a couple of seconds and then resting for 5 minutes, like a power lifter's life. So protein powder, absolutely. Love it. In fact, I just had some. And I I like collagen protein, I like whey protein. There's others out there that you can also do, but those are two I tend to use and really help with recovery. But you can also eat chicken and steak and beans and get some protein in there as well. Any tips for doing your workouts during winter holidays when the schedule is all over the place? Hmm. Well, I personally find more time to work out with the winter holidays, more time to do stuff. But that's me. I'm not traveling a whole lot. Everybody travels to come see us, which is nice. Um, but I've been there, done a lot of traveling during the holidays. Busy with final exams and things like that. So it is a busy season for sure. My advice is just try to stay on some form of schedule, and you may have to cut your workouts in half. Might have to skip a swim every now and then, or whatever, or a ruck, just because they tend to take a little bit longer. But you should get your runs and PTs, maybe a quick lift in um, to it. So my suggestion for you is to create for yourself a good minimum standard. So, for instance, a minimum standard for me is I go, I know I have 20 minutes. So, in that 20 minutes, I'm going to try to get 100 pull ups and 100 TRX push ups. Or I'm going to do 5 sets of pull ups and 5 sets of bench press and see what I can do. Um, something really quick. For a leg day, for a quick leg day, I usually mix it with some running. Instead of just being in the weight room and hitting some squats and deadlifts, I tend to mix all of that together just to get a lot done. So, running leg PT, maybe spend 20 or 30 minutes running, but every 5 minutes, stop and do squats and lunges or kettlebell swings and RDLs, things like that. So I try to find myself something that I know I like to do, um, and that would kind of take the place of a normal workout routine if I don't have all the equipment available or if I don't have time, and my situation really kind of is clouding my ability to train like I normally do. One of my favorites is the speed pyramid. See how quickly you can do a 1-10-1 of pull ups and push ups times two. It's 100 pull ups, 200 push ups. And I think we've done it in like 17, 18 minutes before. It is nonstop, but it's pretty fun. So it's a good challenge. So set up little challenges like that for you with the um, whatever you can do. All right. Do you believe scissor kick of the breaststroke type kick is more efficient for CSS? I have really hard time with the scissor kick and usually opt to a breaststroke. It doesn't matter. Whatever's best for you. Um, usually, statistically speaking, right, and I'm going to say this in generalities, most non swimming athletes are horrible at breaststroke kick. They just haven't spent enough time in the water developing those muscles. It's a weak kick for them. However, if you've had some experience, with competitive swimming or water polo, things like that, um, you probably are going to be pretty good at breaststroke kick. So it is an option for you. For most people, it's not even an option. For me, it was not an option. Most land athletes are better at scissor kicking because think about the muscles being used for scissor kicking. It is not much different than running. Whereas, breaststroke kick, it's a whip kick from the knees down, but it is definitely inner thigh dominant, and not a lot of land movements, work those muscles to the level that you need to be a strong breaststroke kick. So I will say this: the guys who are competitive swimmers, have a strong breaststroke kick, they are naturally going to be faster than any non-swimming athlete with a scissor kick. So I'm not sure what answer you're looking for, but if you don't like the scissor kick, don't do it. Now, I will tell you this: you will need to learn how to do it when you wear a pair of scuba fins, because there is no other way to kick than doing scissor kick or flutter kicks. Now, you could do dolphin kick if you wanted to. All right, let's see what's going on. Do you think working out first thing in the morning on an empty stomach helps with weight loss? I don't know, be honest with you. Um, I'm not sure about the whole uh, low blood sugar. I mean, I think sometimes it has a way of making your workouts not as good if you don't eat something. Um, but I mean, if you think about it, if you burn your blood sugar, because it's going to be pretty low first thing in the morning, it doesn't take long. It takes about 20 minutes to push through it, and you're kind of getting lightheaded, a little dizzy. You really don't have a whole lot to burn. Now, your body's going to be using fat to make energy for you. So you probably have to drop the intensity down when you do that, when you get to that point, or you drink some carbs and you get back into um, in a little more intense training. So in the end, it really comes down to how many calories are you burning, regardless of your full belly or empty belly. So that's that's how I understand it. All right, let's see what we got here. Preparing for Army SF, do you suggest swim at least once per week or focus more on runs and rucking? We have some Army SF guys in the pipeline now, and we swim every day. However, the Army guys do not join us every day on swimming. Um, there may be a day where they need some non impact activity, and swimming is a great choice for that. It's a good cardio option as well if you don't want the impact of running or rucking. Swimming with fins is a good leg day activity. Swimming without fins is a good upper body day non impact activity. So it's up to you how many times you want to swim. I personally would definitely run and ruck a whole lot because that's what you're going to be doing in Army SF training. Let's see. Out of curiosity, how long since you were doing this Q&A session? I start at 9 a.m. East Coast time. So it's been live for 23 minutes total. And I do them every Monday and Tuesday, 9 a.m. New York City time zone. Let's see. One more question. How many times you can skip swimming till you start dropping in performance? Um, Good question. It depends. If you're a competitive swimmer, doesn't matter. You're probably going to be great at swimming, even if you swim once every 2 weeks. It's just the way it is. Um, I usually have the swimmers not swim and keep them in the weight room longer because they need to get used to gravity. However, if you're a non swimming athlete and you start not swimming, you are going to quickly get out of swimming shape for you, and it needs to be a near daily activity, especially if swimming is a weakness. So, once again, the answer depends. I try to get people to swim at least 5 days a week, 2 days with fins, 3 days without fins. And every day is some treading just to get used to treading because I will tell you, treading sucks. If you think treading is easy, um, you might be floating, right? But if you're pretty lean and going into a tread workout, just stand by because it is tough. What makes people drop out before buds actually starts? Oh man, there's a whole list. In fact, I wrote a great article on this. I mean, ruin pretty much it. I think it's called "Ruin Your Spec Ops Dreams Before They Even Start." See, look at that. Ending your Spec Ops dreams before you even start. Things that can end your Spec Ops dreams before they even start. Here you go. Here's a great article. I want you to check this out. But for most people, it is think about the phases of tactical fitness. For phase one, you got to pass a PST, right? And be competitive in it in order to get a slot, to go to buds. So not passing the PST will um, force you to drop out. Now, I'm talking about multiple ways to not make it to buds before it starts. Quitting is some of them too. And I can get that in a second, but PST is number one. That's the easiest one. If you fail the PST at any point, you're pretty much done. Oh, at prep, right? You fail the PST at prep, you're done before it even starts. Um, you don't pass the PST before you go to boot camp, you're done. You won't even get a SO slot to go to buds. But a lot of people screw it up because they just get injured. Um, if you look at this, it starts off with failing, quitting, and changing their mind. Whether it's failing to meet the standards, physical, academic, quitting, or simply changing their mind. A lot of people just change their mind. It's emotionally draining. Going through boot camp and then moving to California, living with a whole bunch of people that are strangers to you to some degree. Or you might know some through boot camp. You're getting yelled at all the time. Girlfriend just breaks up with you, and it's just a perfect storm for failure. So a lot of people just don't have the heart when things like that start happening. Um, yeah, injuries occur. Whether it is, and I tell you where injuries occur the most outside of training. So a lot of people are still doing contact sports before they go to buds. They're doing martial arts, and I'm talking before maybe 3-4 months before doing martial arts. Uh, break a fist or pop a joint. Long distance running events. Some people think, hey, I need to toughen up my mental toughness and go do a 50-mile race or a 100-mile race, and then they can't train for weeks or maybe even months because they got an injury. I've seen some people hurt themselves so bad in those events that they needed surgery on a hip or a foot or something that they broke, ankle twist, things like that. Road biking, a lot of triathletes in this world, just wrecking on a bike, getting hit by a car, not taking your life seriously. That's a big one too. I mean, some people are always, not really focusing on their recovery, staying up all night, partying, you know, and you just start sucking physically and start breaking or not meeting the standards, things like that. But pretty much it's usually anxiety. If you think about mentally what's happening with people before they go to buds, is they're just very anxious. I've seen guys that were top of the class physically that are just crushing everything. And the night before Hell Week, they quit. Like Hell Week hadn't even started, right? The anxiety of Hell Week got to them so much that they quit before it even started. That's a good question. Like I said, I wrote an article on it because it was such a good question. But check out that article. It's pretty in depth. What do you think about eating a pound of pasta a day? Eat 2 cups before workout and just break it up throughout the day. I mean, hey, whatever floats your boat. I would get more than just pasta though. I mean, there is some protein in pasta, especially if you can get some of the, you know, the wheat pasta. Um, what is it? Whole grain pasta. Um, but make sure you're putting some meats in there too, like meatballs, chicken, you know, something in there that goes with it. I'd take some vegetables too. So I don't have a problem with pasta, but I'm not a fan of eating the same old stuff every single day. I got buddies of mine that eat chicken and rice every day, and hey, they look great, but ugh. I mean, I like chicken and rice, but not 3 times a day for months. Give me a pizza every now and then. Meatball sub. Enjoy life. Big steak, potatoes. Mm. Currently 6'3", 205. Will my pull-ups benefit if I drop to 185, even if I lose some strength? Perhaps. I will say this: being 6'3", you're pretty tall. You probably have longer arms than normal, so pull-ups definitely will be better for you the lighter you are. Though you don't want to get too light at 6'3". Put it this way: I was 6'0" and float between 195 and 205. Yes, I've been leaner. I was probably down to 185 and 190, but I was a little too lean for me. Um, but I think at 6'3", 185 would be pretty lean. My suggestion is just get stronger and maybe drop to 200, 195, 200. And it's not just strength, right? It's not just 1 rep max strength. It is muscle stamina. So your first pull up is a strength exercise. Your 20th pull up is a muscle stamina endurance exercise. Um, Victor asks, you were asking about my live Q&As. I've been doing this for a while, every week, 2 times a week, probably for over a year. If you go to my YouTube channel and go through all my live videos, you'll see it's been a while. In fact, I'll swing by and see what I got. Go to my channel, lives. Woo. Yep, I got a whole bunch of lives here. Looks like pages and pages worth. And they're all about an hour long. So there's at least 100 hours of live videos on here. At least 100, maybe more. Any suggestion on how to structure ruck training program? How many times a week? I personally only ruck on leg days. Sometimes that's like twice a week. Sometimes we'll do a third one where it's like a big cardio day. So like on a weekend we'll run, like this weekend for instance, we are doing like a 4 mile run, a 4 mile ruck, and a 1 mile swim. So I call it my Spec Ops triathlon. But we've also done 2 leg days. We will have done 2 leg days before that, where my Army guys will ruck, not long, 30, 45 minutes, work on their pace. Um, but then over the weekend, it'd be, closer to 45, 60 minutes, depending on their pace on that ruck. So that's how I structure them. And then obviously progress each week with distance, uh, weight. Typically, I start off with like, 10% body weight and build up to 25% body weight. Give yourself a couple of months to do that, and then do the same thing with mileage over time, like every month. maybe increase, your time by 30 minutes. All right, so maybe your first month you're only rucking for 30 minutes, your second month you're rucking for an hour, third month you're rucking for an hour and a half, fourth month 2 hours. Not every day, but you build up to certain amount of mileage that way. Eventually you're going to have to be able to do a 12-mile ruck in under 4 hours. Is that right? Under 3 hours. Yeah, so 15-minute miles, that's 4 miles an hour. So yeah, 1, 2, 3. Um, so yeah, 3 hours. So if you can get it under 3 hours, that's really good. 16 miles in under 4 hours. Um, that's kind of the minimum standard. So if you can do it a little faster, I would recommend being in that pace. Another question when it comes to swimming: what should we all focus on to get us through buds, for example, like water confidence and CSS? Through is spelled THROUGH. Just letting you know. One day, communication, written communication will be important. Um, so, um, swimming with fins to get through buds, 1 to 2 miles, build up to 2 miles. So that's 4,000 yards of swimming with fins. Um, you should be treading water with fins and without fins. Just get good at 10 minutes, no hands, either one. With fins, I would say hold on to a 10-pound weight and do it with a pair of fins on. Um, you can build up to 15 pounds if you want. Work on your technique for swimming so it is efficient. Work on your technique for underwater swimming so it is efficient and not wasting energy. And then obviously there's the drown proofing drills and underwater knot tying and you know life saving things like that I would be familiar with. Don't tie yourself up and practice. Don't do a lot of underwater stuff by yourself at all, ever. Um, People die doing underwater stuff by themselves. Don't swim by yourself. Make sure you have a buddy and a lifeguard around if you're practicing any of these things. But that is those are pretty important. In fact, check out this workout. This is a really good workout for both conditioning. Put a link in the comment section here. It's a great workout for conditioning as well as pool confidence. There you go. Buds orientation is like welcome to Buds. It's part motivational. It's part the beat downs begin and the intimidation of what Buds is sets in. And a lot of people quit during Buds orientation. Once again, mainly because of the anxiety of what's about to occur. They get very nervous, not very confident in their abilities, or they're overconfident in their abilities, and they get crushed. So it's not easy, but I shouldn't say that. It is easy compared to Buds, but it is also a source of attrition as well. What is the most strict form pull-ups you have witnessed? I would say anything cadence wise. I mean, there are forms of cadence pull-ups that have to be done where you can't sway. You have to go up, down perfectly. Your knees, your body can't go back and forth. Um, and it's like one, up, down, up, down, up, down. Um, so yeah, Did the instructors ever hammer you in buds? I've heard when instructors hammer the students, most quit. Oh, they hammer everybody at buds. Me personally, yes, absolutely. And when they weren't hammering you, you were glad they weren't hammering you. They're glad, they were hammering somebody else. But, I was a class leader for third phase, got hammered all the time. Um, my last name is Smith. There also happened to be another guy going through buds the same time whose dad was Admiral Smith SEAL. So they actually confused me and they thought my dad was the Admiral SEAL. Got beat all the time for that one. But as I explained to them, my dad is a newspaper man in Georgia. They started laughing and like, oh, you got the wrong guy. So it was pretty funny. Um, but yeah, it's not a big deal. I wouldn't say most people quit because they get hammered. I mean, sometimes it's the whole class getting hammered. Sometimes it's just you. I won't ever forget being on duty and on a weekend thinking that everything was good, didn't have a whole lot to do, had to clean the offices and, do some stuff like that. And then there's a board instructor that's also on duty. And we did 1,008 count bodybuilders. And we got to rest every um, 250, get a water break every 250. There's like 3 or 4 of us doing that. That sucked. That was not fun. Um, what do I usually eat in a day? Well, so far I have had some eggs. I've had a greens shake with protein in it, mixed in almond milk. Just shook that up, drank that out. So that's probably going to be my breakfast. Um, I doubt I'll eat anything before lunch. Lunch, I have salad with some steak or chicken on top. Probably have some snacks of nuts or something, and then dinner's usually. I usually like a pretty big dinner, so probably steak. Last night I had spaghetti and meatballs. Yeah, steak, broccoli. Always have broccoli. I'd say broccoli and asparagus are probably 5 times a week at our house. Probably not the asparagus so much, but broccoli every night. Even my kids, even since they were toddlers, they were eating broccoli. So for me, that's my superfood. I like that. Did you go to Bud's with a wife? Is this possible? I heard it's nearly attained. Not sure what you're saying there, but I did not. But I was dating my current wife, who we have been married now for 28 years. And so we started dating in 1990. I finished Buds in 92. And so 30 years ago. And so, yeah, she was not my wife until 94. But it worked out. It happens. Know anything about National Guard SF? Yes. Seems doubtful. It's a part time. It's as part time as they advertise. I wrote an article on it. It's not on military.com. Special Forces, National Guard, Stu Smith. Let's see here. Where's that thing? Pretty sure I wrote an article for it. I just can't seem to find it right now. I typed it something else. So getting Army Special Forces fit. Yeah, it's out there somewhere. I just couldn't find it. But yeah, it is. I have buddies of mine that are police officers, who were active duty Green Berets that are now full-time police officers here locally, and they have deployed a few times because they wanted to. They needed, whatever job they were, they needed that to fit into a deploying ODA, and deployed to Afghanistan probably 3 or 4 times in the last 15 years. So you can deploy if you want. You don't have to, but you definitely can. A lot of people want to do that. A lot of people just want to maintain their uh, SF status and go to National Guard. Some deploy, some don't often. But it can be part time, but it can also be very full time. Um, Obviously, going through National Guard boot camp, and then once you're through that, you um, go to airborne and infantry school and airborne and SFAS and all that. And you'll probably have to pass a like screening weekend at your reserve unit first, or National Guard unit first, before you go to selection. But anytime you're going through a school, it's not part time. You're a full time dude, and the Q course is a year long, so you will be active duty if you get selected. You're going to be going through an active duty school as a National Guard member. Now, when you're done with that school, you don't go to a SF unit. You go back home, go start training with your SF buddies that are at your unit locally, and you do that on weekends or once a month, things like that. So, yes and no is the answer. Let's see. How do you know when your target pace minute per mile for daily runs? How do you determine to go faster or slower for 4 miles? Hmm. Well, I do this. Let's say my 4 mile run is 32 minutes. That means my current pace at a 4 mile run is an 8 minute mile. However, I want to get faster. So now my goal pace is a 7 minute mile, and that'll get me 28 minutes in a 4 mile timed run. And that's what I usually recommend for people to be at anyway before they go to buds. So all of my runs during that week, or most of them, I'd probably say about 75, 80% of them will be at that 7 minute mile pace. So if I have a whole bunch of quarters, like today we did 20 quarters, um, tried to get those at that goal pace of what people are trying to do. Could be a 6 minute mile, could be a 7 minute mile. Um, could even be a range, like somewhere between 7 and 7:30 is fine as well. Yesterday we did a bunch of hill sprints, but we also added in some 800 meter intervals at goal pace. So that 7 minute mile pace is a 3:30, 800. So all I'm really doing is teaching my body what that pace is if I want to run faster. Why you would want to run slower for any purpose other than just an aerobic zone run, that's fine. You can do that. Um, but that's how I do it. So hope that answered your question. I think it did. I have a problem with getting in high reps with push-ups while finding pull-ups easy. Any suggestions? Keep practicing. Something I would recommend is get on the bench press and do your normal 3 sets of 10, 5 sets of 10, 5 by 5, whatever you feel like you want to do on that bench. But immediately after you hang up the bar, roll over and do as many push ups as you can right after that. And you will find that that is going to feel like the last 15 to 20 seconds of a 2-minute push-up test. So it's a quick way of getting yourself to that level of experience and muscle fatigue to where you can start building some endurance, because just like with pull-ups, your first push-up is a strength exercise. I've seen people get their first push-up, that was all strength, right? But your 80th or your 100th push-up is all muscle stamina. So you have to push those little limits, not necessarily fail every time to where you just drop to your knees and you can't move anymore, or you start shaking. um, you want to be fatigued to a point where your next push up is not going up. Maybe come down real slow on that last one just to ride it out a little longer. So that's how I would do it. And don't do them every day. I think that's where a lot of people make mistakes, is just a lot of high rep pull ups and push ups, and they spread it out daily for weeks or months. And next thing you know, they're just on a big plateau, or they're seeing negative results. So my suggestion is do this article, my 3 favorite workouts to crush fitness tests. And you can put these all 3 in the same week, spread them out through a day or two. And you got a PT pyramid, a superset, and a max rep set. Do all 3 of those in a week and watch your results occur. And if you're going to throw in a lift, do it like I just said with the bench press push ups right after. Have you met anyone who went to Buds with an injury, made it out? Does the program weed out all those who are facing injury? For this example, the individual can meet competitive scores. I'm not sure. You mean going into Buds with an injury and made it out? Now, I had an injury. I didn't have one when I started. I had an injury about 6 weeks before graduation. I was rolled and was able to heal and finish. Um, People who, it's very unlikely you'll even be allowed to enter the Buds compound if you are suffering from an injury. Um, I mean, maybe they'll roll you before you even start, but usually it works like this. You kind of have to earn your role. Like, you may not be able to stay in the game and meet all the standards and handle the grind that is, especially that first 4 or 5 weeks. Those bring in a lot of injuries. A lot of people suck those up. But if they know you're injured going in, chances are they won't even let you start. I wouldn't if I was in charge. Um, that's just a recipe for disaster. So we might have to be patient and go later. Never been great at pull-ups, but my age at 205, my difficulty is the last inch, get my chin over the bar. Any exercises you suggest? You know what? Try some negatives. Get that chin over the bar, work the mobility that is that issue by just getting your chin over the bar literally, and then just come down nice and slow. So, and you come all the way down to that, hanging point. So you work that full range of motion, because it could be more of a mobility issue versus a strength issue. So start there, and then you'll be able to tell if it's a strength issue or if it's a mobility issue. But you can definitely loosen up your shoulders and do better at pull-ups. Did you get used to cold water and being hypothermic most of the time? Yeah, you do. You just realize it sucks and you get over it. Yeah, for sure. Vietnam jungle boots. Did they actually wear them in Vietnam? Yes. Yeah, they did. In fact, all my instructors, we had instructors that were Vietnam vets, and they were awesome. Um, and they would tell us about the boots that we were wearing as the same ones they wore. And this was 90. 90, 91, and that was 20 years ago. So it's not uncommon to have a boot around for 20 or so years. Um, I mean, look at the Bates. The Bates replaced the um, Jungle Boot in like 92. I think the like couple of months after we got out, the Bates came in and we were pissed because I like, man, these shoes are awesome. Um, Bates lights, 924s, I think they are 922s. Um, but yeah, they're really nice and they lasted until 2015, so they lasted another 20 years at least. And now they do the Nike Combat Gen 2s, which I think is relatively new. So I think there's Bates lasted almost 25 years. So it's not uncommon to have old boots. But remember, when I used them, it was only 21 years after they were using them, just like using Bates in 2017. Not sure what you're saying at MEPS. Are you at MEPS now? I do have a bad shoulder mobility. Thanks. Yep. It's typically that. If ring the bell during buds, do you have a second chance throughout your Navy career, or is it one and done kind of thing? I tell you what, man, it's not easy getting back for many reasons. Here's why. First of all, um, you can come back if you're a good candidate. That's typical. Um, but there's a lot of things have to work in your favor. Like your year group of when you came in, let's say you joined the Navy in 2020 and it is now 2022. You didn't make it in 2020. It's now 2022, almost 2023, and you're at your command. You're doing well. You got the chain of command approval. Everybody's saying like, "Yeah, you're a great guy. Good luck. Go back to buds." But you're a bosun's mate or whatever, and your community are short of bosun's mates. So they won't let you transfer out of being a bosun mate to go to buds. You're in that rate. You cannot get out of it. Now, the only other way you can get out of it is get out of the Navy, right? And you do your 4 years. So you still owe another 2 years probably before you can get out of the Navy. So it's a gamble. I mean, it really depends. And that's just your rate. Now, your year group, which I screwed up that order. Let's say 2020 is full of SEALs, right? They don't need any more SEALs for the class of 2020 or the year group 2020. You're not going. So there's two hurdles that you have to get through in order to um, go back to buds. One, they have to need you in that year group, and two, uh, uh, your rating, your community that you're in has to want to let you go to go do other things. They don't need you in that community because they're overmanned or something. And third, you need a really good, recommendation from your chain of command. So if you go there, you hate being on a ship and you're a dirtbag, probably not going to get a good letter recommendation and eval, and buds won't take you. So, Sean, what did it feel like finally earning that? It was a good feeling. I won't lie to you. I mean, it was me and my buddy were just sitting in our living room after it was all done after a day of a lot of intensity, and just couldn't believe it. So it was very surreal. I believe class 234 went back 3 times. Yeah, I remember Rivera. I remember him back when it was like 180. he was there for his first time. don't think he quit. I think he froze to death almost. He was very skinny guy and was very hypothermic. Maybe he quit. I don't know, but he's a tough dude. I give him that. How many kilometers of running should I train in order to be ready for SEALs? I wrote an article on that, though it's not in kilometers, miles. Miles per week for buds. Stu Smith. So there's an article I wrote called Guess what it's called? How many miles per week should you run before buds or other selection programs? So I'm going to put that in here and you can read that. It will tell you in depth. Any tips to encourage and motivate 16-year-old teenager to participate in fitness? I've been trying for 3 years now, motivate my son to be interested in fitness to no avail. You know what? This is a good question, Patricia, because I've been there as well. You know, when my son was 12 and 13, not so much into fitness, or didn't want to work out with me. He was skinny. He was like 6. In 8th grade, he was 6'3" and 140 pounds. I mean, that is tall and skinny. Um, However, once he hit high school and like after freshman year, so he's around 15, 16 years old, he started wanting to do things. Now, I will say this, he was involved in like martial arts and played some basketball and some baseball. So he was bouncing around playing, he was moving around. So he was involved in that stuff. But he didn't continue it in high school, and all he did was lift, and I think he threw the shot put or something. Uh, just did some track as far as like getting a letter in sports. But I worked really hard at not forcing him to do anything. Um, and it was him that said, "Hey, I want to start working out." And typically they will. However, I think you're doing fine with encouraging and motivating and just planting it out there, maybe being a good example yourself. Stay moving, get moving. Um, but yeah, I think finding an activity is very important, whether it's fitness, clubs, music, whatever. Do something to get them away from the screens, whether it's a computer screen, a big screen, or a little screen. Limiting screen time is very important. But eventually, the testosterone kicks in and they want to start looking better. That's what I have found. Most teenagers just want to, you know, flex a muscle and have one, right? That's where it all starts. So I would say be patient, but keep encouraging them and keep setting the example. Do you stay in touch with individuals you train with after they join the military? Absolutely. How do they get in touch with you to begin training? They usually just Google me, email me. My email's out there for everybody. In fact, I will set it here because we're about at the hour mark, a little over. Stu at StuSmith.com. Most time they just email me and I say, yeah, come check it out. And the place where we train can be found at um, Heroes of Tomorrow. I can't spell anything. Tomorrow.org. Might have misspelled that, but you guys can check it out. Heroesoftomorrow.org. I think it works. That's our schedule. That's what we do. We work out year round, and yeah, that's a fun group. Got a bunch of guys in the SF pipeline. Probably going to go see a SQT graduation this year. So I'm excited. And they were all guys from years ago. What's really cool is when all of them come back for Thanksgiving and Christmas workouts because they come back home to, at least if they were local, they come back here, visit mom and dad and their friends, and they come back to morning workouts. And I mean, there's some morning workouts. We have 5 active duty SEALs and Marines and EOD and PJs and SWAT team guys, FBI agents, got all types. It's a lot of fun. I mean, those are some of my best workouts just because guys are, it takes away that impossibility factor. Once they start seeing guys that are making it through, that are in the pipeline, getting past Hell Week and beyond other jobs as well, just it really affirms for them that yes, they can do this. They see other people doing it. It's not impossible. And they did the same training as we're doing right now. So it's a lot of fun. In fact, I'm looking forward to it. Next week, in fact, we do a big Thanksgiving Day workout. That's a lot of fun, and usually it's filled with folks coming back to visit. We get after it for a couple hours and then just watch football and eat turkey with your family. So, good question. All right, folks, I've gone over an hour. Not that that's a big thing. I didn't really show a lot of swim videos, but if you're looking for swim videos, go here. I mean, I got a lot on YouTube as well, but go to tiktok.com, StuSmith50, and you'll see over 100 combat swimmer stroke videos of basically me voiceover critiquing them. Um, it's very helpful. You'll see some good ones. You'll see some bad ones. You may be experience some of those same problems. My recommendation is do this. Film yourself or have somebody walk alongside the pool and film you while you're swimming, and then compare it. Compare it to the other folks. And if you want, send it to me and I'll critique it. Happy to. I do that at no cost. It's just an easy way to help people get a little bit better at swimming because it is technique driven. So if you guys want some more programming, go to StuSmithFitness.com, check out the articles. If you guys got a question, seriously, do this. Go to Google, type in the question, put my name in it, and I might have written an article about it. Or you can go to StuSmithFitness.com and there's a search section up there and you type in whatever, something will pop up, whether it's a book on that topic, an ebook on that topic, article on that topic, or even a video on that topic. So let me see. I thought I had my latest book here, but I didn't bring it. So I got it hot off the press. My winter lift cycle is done. So this is what it looks like. If you guys haven't seen it yet, this is the winter lift cycle cover. So seasonal tactical fitness periodization. What this is going to be, this is going to be a 4-part series where I have just done the fall, which is here, fall season, right here. And just got the winter done. And before this month is over, I'll have the spring completed. And by the end of December, I will have summer completed. And that will be a full year programming of how that works. Have I started the spring yet? Yes, spring is about halfway done. And I'll explain more of the new, not really new, just a different style of how I'm setting it up. It's similar to last year's version, but like I said, these programs are our Spec Ops level fitness training that we do here locally. That I'm just putting them into programs. So there you go. That's it. So hey guys, thanks a lot. I'll see you guys next week. um, and we'll do this again. Bring your questions, send your videos, and I'm happy to discuss whatever you got.